So, let's talk about what on earth just happened in the skies over the UAE. One of the world's busiest air travel hubs went from a complete, unprecedented shutdown to a very cautious restart, all in just a matter of days. We're going to break it all down. All right, so here's the headline. The UAE is, in fact, reopening its skies. But, and this is a big but, the chaos is absolutely not over. If you have any travel plans in or through that region, you really need to understand what's happening on the ground. Okay, so what is the very latest? Well, after what was basically a total shutdown, the UAE's General Civil Aviation Authority has started to let flights resume, but they're doing it in phases. This is not a flip the switch and everything's back to normal kind of situation. It's happening under some pretty exceptional circumstances. And you can see it right there in the official language they're using. They're calling these exceptional steps. This tells you it wasn't some kind of knee-jerk reaction. It was a very deliberate choice to put the safety of every single person, crew, and passenger in the air above absolutely everything else. Which, of course, brings us to the biggest question of all, right? Why? Why did they have to shut everything down in the first place? Well, it all comes down to a sudden and incredibly intense military escalation in the region. Let's just walk through the chain of events here, because it happened fast. First, you had coordinated strikes happening on targets inside Iran. Almost immediately after that, Iran launched a massive retaliatory attack, and we're talking a huge wave of drones and missiles. Faced with that kind of immediate threat, the UAE really had no other choice but to hit pause and implement these airspace restrictions as a precaution. It was a crazy fast domino effect. So when we say a large-scale retaliatory attack, what does it actually mean? Well, the numbers are genuinely staggering, and they really explain why such a drastic action was needed. Let's break them down. First up, the drones. And we're not talking about a handful here. Air defense systems detected a swarm of 689 of these things heading towards the region. That is just an enormous number to track and intercept all at once. And it didn't stop there. On top of the drones, you had 174 ballistic missiles. Now, these are the heavy hitters. They're faster, they're bigger, and they carry a much more powerful payload. And finally, to complete the picture, a smaller but really sophisticated threat: 8 cruise missiles. These are notoriously difficult to defend against because they can fly low and maneuver. So what you're looking at is a complex, multi-layered attack. So this slide really breaks down the result of all that. And you can see from the chart the vast majority of those threats. We're talking 94% were successfully intercepted. That's a huge success for air defense. But, and this is the critical part, that other 6%, it got through. This wasn't a hypothetical threat. It was very real. And we know exactly where some of that impact was felt. Dubai International Airport, DXB, confirmed that one of its concourses actually sustained minor damage, and 4 staff members needed medical attention. This just proves the direct risk to one of the world's busiest airports. Okay, so with all that context, let's get practical. Let's look at the situation on the ground right now. What is the current status at the major airports across the UAE? For Dubai's airports, both DXB and DWC, operations have resumed, but it is extremely limited. Emirates and Fly Dubai are running some flights, focusing on rebooking stranded passengers. But the most important advice, and we've highlighted it here, is absolutely critical. Do not just show up at the airport. You have to wait for the airline to contact you directly. And it's a very similar story over in Abu Dhabi. The airport itself has partially resumed operations, but the main carrier, Etihad, has suspended all its flights until the afternoon of March 4th. And again, you see that same critical piece of advice. Don't go to the airport until you have been contacted by the airline with a confirmed flight. And over at Sharjah, Air Arabia has also suspended its flights until the afternoon of March 4th. But you'll notice some of the key regional routes to places like Lebanon, Jordan, Syria, and Iraq are suspended for even longer, until March 5th. The key takeaway for all of these airports is that you have to be proactive and confirm everything directly with your airline. You know, this isn't just a UAE issue. The disruption has had a massive domino effect across the entire region. So let's zoom out and look at the bigger picture and what it means for you. This table really just tells the whole story, doesn't it? Look at the widespread closures. Israel, Iran, Iraq, Qatar, Bahrain, Kuwait, all completely closed. This visualizes why rerouting flights is so incredibly complex. Airlines can't just fly around the problem when the problem is this widespread. So this all leads to the one question that's probably on every single affected traveler's mind. What should you actually do right now? Here it is. This is the clear, four-step advice straight from the General Civil Aviation Authority. Number 1, contact your airline. Number 2, monitor official news channels, not social media rumors. 3, just expect more changes, be patient. And number 4, and this is a crucial one, check your travel insurance. Make sure it's comprehensive. So, while the immediate crisis is being managed, the long-term questions are just beginning. As the skies over the UAE reopen, the big question on this slide is really the one that remains. How will one of the world's most critical travel hubs adapt to this new reality of risk? That's what airlines, governments, and travelers are all going to be grappling with for the foreseeable future.